Hello, YouTube. Welcome to today's special episode. On this Codecast, we have Derrick Ikenga, who has built a deep specialization in augmented reality for himself. He's the founder of Euphoria Labs and has previously worked at Taylor. And today he'll be telling us everything about augmented reality and how that applies to people in Africa who want to build businesses and also solve problems in different areas of the continent and different areas of life. And he'll also tell us how exactly you can get into augmented reality. So I'll pass it on to Derrick to give us a quick introduction about himself.
All right. Thanks a lot for inviting me on this. I'm glad to be here. My name is Derrick Ikenga. I'm a software developer focused on augmented reality. I've been building augmented reality experiences for close to 3 years now. Started out testing out a couple of apps, and eventually saw the use case for it and how it's particularly very interesting when it comes to people like us, people who are sort of like in countries where we have limitations. So I studied tech and I knew I could leverage this to build, things that that don't have limitations. And ever since I've been experimenting with it, I have a couple of AR solutions out publicly, and I have a couple of experiments to also run. I was previously CTO at Taylor, and now I work at Euphoria Labs, where we're building augmented reality experiences for e-commerce businesses, so people can basically try on products before they buy them. Yeah, to be able to increase conversion and reduce returns. So yeah,
Yeah, that's really exciting. Um, I'm going to just switch my background because I know it's flashing. So this should
okay,
be good now. Okay.
all right,
Yeah. So that's I think that's really fascinating. Being able to use augmented reality in real life. Like it's I think the first time um, the world really saw anything, any value in augmented reality was maybe I think it was 2015 or 16 with that app Pokemon Go.
yeah,
I think that was like the main. I couldn't install it then because like you needed you needed certain specs on your phone to be able to install it. So I'm sure things have moved a lot
yeah.
from then. Could you just maybe give some insights into like how important Pokemon Go was and how things have evolved since that time?
I mean, for most technologies, they need a breakthrough solution.
Yeah,
They'll probably be around for a very long time, but people won't value them until like get some sort of breakthrough solution. So I think Pokemon Go was like the large scale breakthrough for AR. Oh, okay, this is exactly what it is. This is exactly how it's different from VR, which is a more immersive experience. Because people used to always have that confusion and all that. So yeah, I mean, Pokemon Go was very interesting. Even though I didn't have the device that could play Pokemon then, but the concept, that you could actually interact with these games or these objects, that you've loved from TV in the actual space with other people and all that kind of stuff. I mean,
yeah,
it was really exciting for and
yeah.
same way what Bitcoin is to blockchain. I would say that's what Pokemon Go is to AR in terms of communication.
Yeah, that's a really good analogy because right now, the blockchain markets and cryptocurrencies are really hot, and there's also the use case of I believe NFT digital art with
Yeah,
augmented reality.
yeah, yeah,
Some insights on that.
yeah. I'm currently writing an article about how to use NFTs with AR.
Mm,
Basically, there's this extra layer that's being built around the world, and there's stuff of VR, some people call it the metaverse. And in this sort of like extra reality, people need to be able to transact, be able to trade is like a very fundamental thing. People will
yeah,
transact definitely, and the blockchain basically helps to keep track of that stuff. And NFTs are like the mainstream way for people to use those things. So where I'm collecting digital items, digital value, and I want to be able to show off my digital value. So I have virtual art, for example. I can't. I have virtual art stock on my 2D phone, but how about I create like a virtual gallery? where I can show off all my collectibles, and I can always share that experience to anyone in the world, and they can check out um, my collectible experiences. There's also the part of digital fashion coming up. If people are beginning to wear virtual clothes, breaking that line between what's real, what isn't. There's also a project I'm working on where we're doing like augmented fashion, where we're kind of like creating new design elements on fashion pieces that can only be experienced through AR, and to prove the identity of, to prove that you actually own this experience or this clothing or this design from the creator. You'd have to use an NFT with that. So I mean, I think they all started out sort of like independent, but they're all converging to one particular point, which is the metaverse, and that's all we're looking at, where you're no longer limited to where you're born. There's some sort of virtual economy where you can go
Interesting.
in, and you've seen stuff around what Roblox is currently doing. Snapchat is doing its own, and Fortnite is having their own like virtual events and selling skins and all that kind of stuff. So there's all these use cases, and they kind of like all converge eventually into one virtual layer where I wake up, I go into the space, I can verify, I have all these things, and at the same time I can show them off using AR or VR. So yeah, it's pretty interesting actually. It's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. So I guess this metaverse, it needs uh I think what my understanding from what you said is the metaverse is a virtual or augmented space that is being mapped on existing digital maps. So previously on our last Codecast episode, coincidentally, we had someone on speaking about geographic information systems. So
Yeah.
I guess that sort of fits into this metaverse because the metaverse needs to, I guess, the user experience to be as So I'll just open my phone or something and maybe just scroll to some part of the world on a map and then just click on maybe a shop there, just like point my phone on my wall, and essentially I'm in there. So I guess that has some, it depends on some of the technologies as well.
Yeah, definitely. There's people or there are people basically mapping out using direct map of the world to build some sort of a metaverse of it. I think there's tools like Decentraland, and where you can buy like virtual land, and then you own that piece of the
Wow.
world, and then you can, there's also OVR. OVR combines, blockchain and AR to create like a virtual layer, and you buy those pieces of, of the earth, and then you can come. So even in OVR, I'm planning to buy most of Lagos already, small shop. Yeah, but like, so yeah, so there's that part. There's also the part where you don't actually need to map it directly to the real world. I think mapping it directly to the real world is just to bring in scarcity, which is very, very important for fungibility and all that. Um, so I think it's just to do scarcity, but at the same time, you can also have a metaverse that's not mapped to the world. But ultimately, you need those things to connect to each other. You need those things to be able to communicate with each other. If you able to get a virtual skin that I'm wearing here and go into a different world with my virtual skin, we have brands like Gucci, setting up. They have like a physical experience. It's amazing. It's fresh, blah blah. Blah. But now there's stuff like the pandemic, and they can't show you all the luxury that they created
Yeah.
for you. What do? They can go to the metaverse to create a very, very immersive experience where you can now come in anywhere from the world to go and experience, Gucci and all its luxury and why it's special and all that kind of stuff. So um, you'll find out that you see a lot of bigger brands jumping into this first because they they need it. They needed to stand out. They needed to to improve their bottom lines and all that kind of stuff. And then after a while, then smaller brands will come up with them. So it's I think it's very, very good space for even smaller brands to start now and start taking advantage of consumer ideas are changing, consumer spending is changing, consumer desire is changing. People are beginning to crave virtual objects. People are beginning to crave things like, I'm sure Pokemon would drop something in NFT very soon.
Yeah,
So yeah, so all that, yeah, it's pretty exciting.
yeah, yeah. No, I think that's a good point. That at least as of today, there seems to be a trend for people to want digital assets or virtual representations of something physical. And you touched briefly on like real estate. I could just imagine that going crazy because if someone can buy a virtual piece of land, and then there are digital currencies that could buy these pieces of land. That's another level of hype
Yeah.
over there. Yeah. So I guess bringing it closer to home in terms of the feasibility, so of course for larger businesses, you mentioned Gucci, Nike, like for example, they might be able to sustain that, and they have enough funding to build it out at scale for all their customers to maybe just go to the browser or to go to a mobile app. But for a small mom and pop shop, some small supermarkets or some small business, how like what would the experience be like for them in terms of how do they onboard some of their customers? If let's say I own a small shop where I sell let's say I sell gym equipment, or let's say I sell things like yeah, let's just stick with gym equipment. And things people can't come to where I am, but they want to see how the gym equipment will fit in their facility, right? The benches, and then the pull-up bars and all that. So how exactly can I leverage augmented reality for my clients?
All right. So the problem you just mentioned now is exactly what we out to solve. Euphoria Labs. So what I realized when I started building out the AR was a lot of solutions were quite expensive. Even me, I could not afford to even test my ideas because to get them out is pretty expensive and all that.
Yeah,
So we're building that, but I think that basically you have to create assets of your replica assets of your physical product, yeah, that can be leveraged as digital items. You need to create 3D versions of your product that can be leveraged as digital items. And what this does for you basically is that it takes you away from that small-minded mom and pop store, because now your customers are no longer the people that are around you that can physically come to your shop. You could have someone in France who likes your stuff or who finds you out somehow, they think it's crazy, and they're basically able to see stuff that you have after you create 3D assets for them. If you bring them to a platform like Euphoria so a couple of other platforms are available online, Sketchfab and all that, people can see 3D versions of your product and then be able to try them in the space. So what we're looking at, where the real problem is trying to make these solutions cheaper for people to create. So there are a couple of solutions around this where we're using machine learning. I don't throw a lot of like big words around there, but we're using like machine learning to create 3D scans and a couple of lidar applications to do that, where you kind of like scan an object with your phone and then you have to create a 3D replica of the object from scanning it. It's currently shaky and all that, but it gets better over time. And then that kind of like eases the way of you creating a 3D asset for your product. And you can basically upload that 3D asset to any platform and then enable AR experiences for people to now try. So you can connect that to your online website if you're an e-commerce store, or if you have a retail experience, you could basically have like your link and you just share that to your customers and they come and they say it. So but the main thing is really creating sort of like digital duplicate for what you have physically. So whether you like a gym equipment, you sell jewelry, you sell clothes, there's this common joke in Nigeria, whatever stuff like God, that kind of stuff. Having digital replicas that people can try out from their phones, or eventually in the future with HMDs, um, makes is how to go. And I think right now there's a lot of effort that needs to be put into making this process cheaper for smaller people to be able to get started with and not get left out. And a lot of my recent work has been tied to that because I face it personally. I know how much it sucks to say you want to experience and you have to pay like $3,000, $6,000. And you're not even sure if it's gonna like make if you're not really sure, you're still trying to test the idea and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, so there's definitely that gap there. I know a couple of people are working on it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no, I think that makes a lot of sense. Finding a way to bring down the costs so that different merchants can offer their clients augmented reality experiences. And I guess on the clients, for the person who's going to buy, if I'm the one selling the gym equipment for that person, how then do they, how do they go to my website from their phone and then like click on an object and
Okay.
place it in their room or something?
All right. So the good thing about AR right now is a lot of people are investing in it. You have social brands heavily investing in Facebook, Snap. You have web, Google, and all that Apple and all that kind of stuff. So really, depending on where you deploy your experiences, I like to focus more on social and web AR. Because I know mobile apps kind of like are people won't download your mobile app for one to use probably one
Yeah.
time or two times. And I'm probably dumping. So I don't like mobile app. So depending on the experience, but if it's like a game, I would definitely encourage mobile app. But for like a shopping experience, I would say use social or web. So social AR. So you know how we have Instagram filters, Snapchat filters that people use and make funny faces and all that kind of stuff. Those are actually AR experiences. They're more of the subtle form, AR experience. People can just basically layering small digital information that people like and all. But these platforms are actually much more powerful than that, and they've shown this over and over. So Snapchat, for example, has a way you can actually try on virtual shoes. So you can deploy experiences to Snapchat. You can try deploy them to Instagram. At the same time, you can deploy them to your website. So it really just depends on your strategy. I usually focus on three of them at the same time. So you do your web, we do like your Instagram, Facebook, social, and then we do like Snap if you active on Snap. Um, just so because modern consumers can meet you at any point of interest. They can meet you at the
Mhm.
shopping online, they can meet you on your website. So anywhere you want. So the main thing is once you have the digital asset, the experience, it's just for you to deploy it to any platform you like. You can either hire a developer or find one or two. I think one or two resources to do that. So the customer just comes to your Instagram profile. They will see like a filter link. They click on it and they can see the product in space. Because if it's a virtual try on, they can see themselves wearing the product, depending on the experience. Same thing on your website, on the web. Although on the web for now we have more try in your space experiences because it's a lot harder to do virtual try-ons on the web because of technology is not fully there yet,
Yeah.
or it's not fully there open and free like that.
Mhm.
Um, but it's coming. So you can do try your space experience or try in your face or virtually try on the experience. So it really depends on the merchant. For African merchants, I usually suggest social experiences because you know people use more social here to shop compared to checking out on websites. Then for foreign for European and American clients, or I usually suggest add it to your website, but at the same time just deploy it to your social experience.
Yeah.
And really, consumers come from different points in this. So anyway, they come to just meet the experience, try the space, share it. You get some impressions, you get feedback, even if there's nobody the product. It's some sort of free marketing for the brand at the same time.
Yeah, yeah. No, yeah, that's those are very good points. Even on the technology side, like the fact is, having a mobile experience or a social experience will probably feel better than the web experience because the technology, the libraries you need to render all of the graphics in a web browser, right, may
Yeah,
it won't be as strong as what you have natively on the mobile device.
yeah.
So yeah, that's interesting. Like, what technologies do people use on both web, social, and maybe even the mobile platform? Is it JavaScript or are they using Unity? Those kind of technologies.
Over. So it depends on the experience you want to build. There are a lot of technologies. Well, I will start from web, for example. So on the web, Okay. Apple, most devices have like ARKit, core, but
Mm,
at the same time, there's also I think WebXR, something like that. Yeah, I think WebXR.
yeah.
There's WebXR. The way to deploy experiences on the web, AI experiences on the web without using ARKit or core. So you're using something like ARJS, um,
Yeah.
ARJS. Yeah, I think there's also a couple of. I think Babylon has their own AR solution. There's eight wall. All these platforms use all these frameworks basically allow you to use JavaScript to deploy
Yeah.
web experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then there's for social now. So social is focused more on creative design. So it's more like it feels more like a design tool rather than a programming tool. But at the same time, you can also script. Uh, again, JavaScript. For Snapchat has Lens Studio. Instagram has sparkar. You can design yourself or you can script. Sometimes you have to do both, and they have these things like patches. It's how they design it. Really, have like patches, like logic patches, basically, that combine it like visual programming. Then for mobile, you know, they're using like AR and AR core to deploy experiences. So there's Unity. There's stuff on ARKit is like Swift primarily. ARcore is Java and all that. But you can they're like Unity extensions for you to do that. You can use Unity. You can use Unreal. At the same time, don't stop at web. They are also HMDs, so head-mounted displays rather, glasses, AR glasses, and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of them use Unity. I think there's Microsoft Mixed Reality Kit, yeah, MS MSR Kit, something like that, yeah. So yeah, so that those solutions. So depending on the experience you want to build and what you're deploying it to, you would now pick the platform and pick what to use. But you can also develop more using JavaScript on mobile or using Flutter on mobile. You just kind of like extend to Unity. So they're like Unity, sort of like extensions on APIs basically. You can connect to and using your Flutter or using JavaScript.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. The fact that, especially for the audience of this channel, they're developers, so all these technologies are things that people can explore because I guess most people mainly think of just web development and not necessarily realizing that
Yeah,
sometimes they actually leverage some of these open source tools or sometimes like proprietary tools these
yeah.
SDKs to actually just build things out on mobile platforms and so on. So I was just curious, do you have anything you'd like to show in terms of demonstrations about augmented reality, maybe something you built in the past or something from Euphoria Labs?
Okay, I would show something we built in the past and probably
Yeah.
something from perhaps maybe.
Okay.
They're similar with experiences. Because I focus on e-commerce.
Hmm.
So I'm going to share my screen. Um, yeah, I think, alright. Yeah, we can see this. Um, for context, this is a 3D product customizer. During the pandemic, we were was what as a tailor. We were not sure what product to release and how people would react to the product. So what we created was a 3D customizer customized product. Try it in their space, get feedback from the customers, and when we did this, we were able to get a lot of feedback about the product and be able to launch, and it was a huge success for the brand. So yeah, this is video.
Yeah. And I guess that brings down a lot of cost because you don't need to actually build a physical prototype. You can literally
Yeah,
just do this and iterate on the idea.
I have a couple of projects on my website. So yeah, let me show this. Um, so for context, this was also something I did during pandemic for a fashion brand in Nigeria, Orange Culture. What we created was we created like virtual models for them. So when we were launching a new collection, they couldn't do photo shoots, they couldn't do they, and they didn't even have the budget to do that at the time. So what we do was like a virtual photo shoot, virtual campaign, and people could also create it like virtual models. that people could see as mannequins using AR. So I'll just show real quick what it looks like.
Oh wow. So I guess the target markets for this will be is the is it the mannequin that is um, the selling point or the clothes on the mannequin?
No,
So
the clothes itself, but at the same time, we wanted to create like a consistent um like identity of virtual models. So the models we picked are kind of fit, or models we designed kind of like fit the brand's identity. So the brand is this androgynous brand. So we had to design like sort of androgynous model. You can see the guy with no beard, no hair, really slim, and all that kind of stuff. Sort of like very super African. And this is like a female model.
yeah, and it's pretty interesting. They're um, sort of life size, and you can you can see in real time how like standing beside people how the clothes would actually look like.
Yeah, exactly. And like just like a life size mannequin. So like I said, eventually we'll be able to, right now that's currently possible on Snapchat. We're experimenting with that, where you
Yeah,
can have like virtual try-ons. So you rather than using the mannequin, you can actually see the product on your body. So these are like the part of like things we're working on.
yeah, and I guess I'd like to maybe just ask how exactly did you get into AR? Like, what learning steps did you have to take? What how did you how did you figure out this is something I want to do, and these are the skills I need to acquire in order to get to where I want to be.
I've always been interested in technology that like I hated my physical space. I hated the fact that there's a lot of things I can't change.
Yeah,
Because this is how they are. This is how this is how things are basically. I can't travel out right now. I can't get access to 24/7 electricity or good data or good governance that kind of stuff. So I've always been interested in technologies that like that help me change like my physical situations, like those physical limitations, basically. So when I started with blockchain. I was really interested in blockchain when it first came out. I can build this sort of like virtual layer, permissionless layer, and all that kind of stuff. Then eventually I found out about AR. I think it was through Canva. So that Canva had this like AR rated like this. And this is pretty cool. I can actually layer a lot of things in virtual space. At the time, so when I joined, I was experimenting with it then, doing a couple of solutions, a couple of stuff in React TV and that. And when I joined Taylor, I was like, oh, okay, I can actually get to use this for a proper use case. Actually use it to drive numbers, actually use to increase revenue, increase conversion, reduce return. So that's when I took it like really seriously, and I saw the impact it had. At the same time, so that it was also a very good way to increase excitement with
yeah,
people. So screens are limiting. You have to convince what the person you're talking to through a very tiny screen. Like we're communicating currently through this screen
yeah,
without actually needing this screen. We're just having to see each other. Yeah, but the screen is our medium of us seeing each other, so we are
yeah,
limited to it by default. So being aware that it's possible to um, basically change your eyes if I don't do it too much, like use your eyes to do a lot of things. Augmented reality is like having a filter on your eyes that gives like
yeah,
puts what the world you want in front of you. So that was why I got really interested in it, and I was able to try use cases. See that as a driver, I'm aware that it's going to change how we see the world literally, and I'm excited for what's the future. There are a lot of books and stories that have been written around AR VR. Not directly, but they all point to the particular world where with our eyes we can do a lot of things, and we don't have to, people who, for example, are depressed, for example, you could create a simulating environment for them to make them excited and make them happy, and they can, use that. Like people use it to treat brain damage, the reason I'll probably shop from, more and pop stores no longer have to compete with extremely big brands, because more pop stores can create experiences without having to spend a big one crazy building and
Yeah.
rent one expensive shop one more. All that stuff. So I feel that then we knew for sure we could not afford to do um showrooms like uh bigger furniture brands that we have in Africa. They have like showrooms in every state, but with with AR, like that reason you're coming to a showroom, you can actually do it from your phone, and ultimately that save cost. It's like, yeah, I basically just the jumping the line basically,
Yeah.
saving in a lot of cost today. So and it's been really good. Now I know like I want to do it, go into it full time, even though there's some like, you know um there's some definitely some hindrances because Nigeria and all that, and the market and all that. So
Mm.
which is also one of the great benefits. You don't also, by the nature of products, you don't also have to focus on a small group. So it's a solution that can be sold globally. I know, when in 2019 we go into Google Pitch Drive for Asia, um,
Nice.
using our AR solution, and when it was pretty cool. So that kind of validation, and it basically made the company Taylor then jump the line for furniture brands and actually become like one of the top furniture brands
Yeah.
by leveraging tech to that well, that extent.
Yeah.
So yeah, so if you want to jumpstart anything, any experience you have, really just use AR. You have a lot more people using it without stress. They'll give you
Mm.
feedback. You'll get free content. People would hype you. People will be wild, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess on almost on the final notes, what advice would you give for anyone who's getting into this? Or you've already mentioned that there's some hurdles that people have to cross. There's certain tools that they need to learn. Maybe certain program languages. But in general, like, what kind of advice would you give? Like, if you were starting today, what's something you do differently? Like, what should people who are getting into augmented reality in Africa know about the space?
Firstly, you need to understand 3D, which is one. It sounds simple, but you really need to understand. We've seen the world, we've experienced the world, the technology mostly through 2D devices, 2D planes, front and back. But in 3D is really different. It's really how you experience the world in real life, and you should go from a point of uh, design thinking, and eventually into the experience. Like really understand how it how because you're sort of simulating real world experiences. How do you want people to feel, and what is your goal? So I would say, start with something like there's Google design guideline for AR, or Apple also has like design guideline for AR. Then from that, based on what you want to build, yeah. I usually tell people to start with social AR because it's sort of easy, it's sort of fun. There's not so much
Yeah.
back and forth. But based on what you want to build, really, you can just start off with social layer, get your hands on, understand 3D space, get your hands on one project, then instantly move on to building for proper use cases. So there's the future of AR, which is HMDs, AR glasses. Everybody knows that, Facebook or Apple, one of them is going to win the race. So there's future, so you should have that. I think that's something currently I'm just starting to do now to start planning for AR glasses, start learning for AR glasses. So definitely learn stuff like Unity, Unreal, but at the same time, learn how to create applications that people can use and share. So which has been more of the success I've had so far in AR because solutions I've created were easy for people to share. A lot of people create AR solutions, but people don't get to use them, because you created one app that can only run when you do this like, but create something that's simple and easy to share. At the same time, build what you're doing in public. That way you can get like a lot of people to see the stuff you're doing, get excited, give you feedback, and get if you're looking for clients, get clients looking for a job, and get a job through that route. So understand 3D space, get into the design part of AR. Just understand it. You don't have to like choose it. Just understand
Yeah.
how people would behave when
Yeah.
they use your art for your solution, and then basically just go out to build. I would suggest test a bit of social AR, then move on to Unity or Unreal, because I feel those are like the platforms that people would leverage more. They'll become the default. You need to have this kind of experience. So yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, no, I think that last point you made about building in public, like that is very vital. I the reality is there are many people with different levels of resources, different level of talents, but then it appears that if you're out there, if you're easier to find, right, it's easier for the opportunities to find you as well. Just building in public, putting things on there, and sometimes it can get a bit controversial, but it seems like this is something that many guests on our show have said. Upload your work online, whether it's GitHub or Dribble or Behance, like even Twitter. These are
Yeah,
important things.
yeah, and it's really just a hack, since I discovered it. I mean, it's really just a hack. Like
Yeah.
I'm not I'm not the I'm not the best AI developer in Nigeria. I'm sure I know that there's some
Mm,
guys that are very very good at coding. But if they ask like 10 people in tech space who's the best AI developer in Nigeria, like five of them will probably mention me.
mhm,
And that's not because my skill set is so good. It's because I talk about it, I push it, I share my work, I share other people's work. So by default, I'm going to get most of the opportunity that comes for that space to get. So hopefully, I don't know how you discovered me, but I'm pretty sure it's true. Somebody sharing something I did or me sharing it
yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
Definitely. So it's like people don't know what you don't talk about. People are not aware of you. People are not going to be aware of me anytime soon.
Yeah.
But sharing your work is like a hack. And one thing I also observed is um, there are certain people you probably look up to. Yeah, generally, it's easier for them to communicate with you, have a relationship with you when they realize uh, you are doing this is what you're doing. Like this is exactly what you're doing. Like you and I will probably not have a random conversation on Twitter,
Mhm,
but me and WeDeyCode will definitely have a conversation.
mhm,
And so instantly by having a conversation with WeDeyCode, I know you. So I know your
yeah.
brand. I know you. Same thing. So WeDeyCode is like you having a personal brand. So
Yeah.
people know that my Twitter personality, then you can now reach out to me and then we will know each other. And then someday in the future, you could find out you can get a very good gig or deal or whatever on AR experience.
Yeah.
You're gonna call me.
Yeah.
You get like, and I'll just be there like, and you just call me like alpha, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
just come and I'll get the opportunity and So honestly and really recently there was something I was looking for and I was to go in the technical route online and stuff. But I just tweeted it, I need this, I need this. And instantly, the audience is built over time. They're reaching out to try and help me, that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
instantly, less than 4 minutes, I got what I was looking for. So really, people are more valuable than uh, than just like the follows. So what like
Yeah.
if eventually I want to start out a fashion brand tomorrow, yeah, there are people on my that could have followed me. They follow me because of AR, but if they like fashion, they will still buy
Yeah.
my clothes, buy my clothing. So it's just like you're getting people, attracting them, and then anything you do really after that, like it's just by default they're going to support you. And with social platforms, what is if you can get like say 20, 30 people to instantly engage on something that you posted,
Yeah.
yeah, for whatever reason, it's because you were sharing it more from you. The algorithm thinks, okay, this is good content. I should share this more to other people, and then on other people say, so it gives you that initial buzz for your content. At least you're getting at least 20 or 30 likes first.
Yeah.
Then the algorithm thinks it's good content, they will share it to more people, and then more people now see it, and then it's easy for variety, and then you keep getting more followers, keeps growing like that. So really, it's just the hack. You
Hmm.
don't like sharing what you do. It's the easiest way for people to discover you and know that you can do it. In fact, sometimes you even give people ideas of what is possible. Some people don't even know that what you're doing is possible.
Yeah.
It's when they see it, okay, we can do this. And we have the resources, they will reach out, let's do this, that kind of stuff. So,
Yeah.
yeah, really, like, it's something like what you're doing right now is very, very serious. This content is going to live on the internet forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
That's
just
that's the goal.
like it's going to be online. And for whatever reason, someone who can discover this 3 to 4 years from now, like, oh, we need stuff like this. Can you come on?
Yeah.
And they will just like, so for me also, it's good for me. I'm going to share this when it's out. It will add to my sort of social cred.
Hmm.
You're building reputation in people's minds. And
Yeah.
then the day you say, you need this or you have this, or people just come, the opportunity just comes to you. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good hack.
Yeah, those are words of wisdom. So everyone, if you like today's episode, please remember to like, comment, and share, and of course, subscribe. But before we go, Derek, where can people find you? Maybe your website or Twitter or something.
Yeah, I'm most active on Twitter at software underscore artist.
Hmm.
So software underscore artist. Yeah, so I call myself software artist. So that's our best
Yeah,
I can describe myself. But yeah, yeah. So most of on Twitter. I reply to most of my messages. So yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I think this has been a really interesting episode, and we really got deep on certain stuff. And I hope whoever is watching this, or maybe they're somehow listening to this, that they really get enough information that would impact their lives. And just again, please remember to like this video, subscribe, comment, share. Put this on WhatsApp. Things spread fast on WhatsApp, so please put this video link on WhatsApp, and let's get this viral. Thank you, Derek, for coming on the show. It was really
All right. Thank you so much. Had a good, very, very good.
all right. See you. Bye.